Use the back tank as your cover and then you poke with this tank without sieging. Oh my god, that was insanely lucky Scarab. When you are positioning your factories, you should think about this. And this is something that I tell you in most of my TVPs. What is exactly the trigger to attack here is what I'm looking for. Your next attack is not gonna be stronger than this one. You have to do something that is pushing your game forward. So look at this constant Vulture movement. When you are attacking as a Terran and you are already sieged, it's just the same as you were defending. Hello. So I wanted to try this new type of content where I analyze higher MMR games with you. So the way we are gonna do it, I'm gonna disable the Protoss vision. This is TVP, by the way. This game is above 2400 MMR according to Seawall. And I have no idea who those players are. I specifically picked barcodes because I didn't want to know who they are, because I didn't want to know any context about those games. And the game will last about 21 minutes and Terran will win. So I'm telling you this so you have the same context as me watching this. You can actually let me know whether you would like to know those informations, if I'll do such format in the future as well, or you would rather stay in the dark and watch it without spoilers. Okay, so we already saw the 11 gas, by the way. Now we are sending 12 scouts. So this scout is actually a little bit earlier than usual. Not much, but still a little bit earlier. Preemptively send SCVs to the gas. It was 11 racks, by the way, as well. Yeah, and I'm gonna try to share my thoughts with you about what I think, why this Terran makes such decisions and so on. Okay, we see forward gate and a cybercar. So now he's hovering probably to see a zealot coming out. Here Protoss did something very modern, I would say. They started to do that, so they sacrificed this probe HP to deal 10 damage to the Marine, and the 10 damage is very special because now the Zealot kills Marine in 2 shots, because it's 2 times 16, so it's 32, it kills the Marine, and of course Dragon only now needs 3 shots to kill the Marine. So this is something they started to do, like, I don't know, about a year ago or something. I didn't see that before, but now pretty much everybody does that. So we see the Zealot coming out. I wonder what will be his reaction, because he cannot stay up the high ground right now with those Marines. Now he will look for the range, I'm pretty sure. And Protoss, why Protoss is chasing this SCV? Because technically he doesn't have to do that, because he's wasting mining time right now, but he wants to prevent the eBay block, probably, from the Terran. So that's why this probe is chasing the SCV. In your game, if you're in a situation like that, where they go some kind of forward gate or any aggression early, you can then drop down the eBay, and this will force either a lot of mining time loss for Protoss, because he will have to pull 3-4 probes to kill the eBay, or he will have to use his unit to kill the eBay, which then translates to you not having to worry about next unit coming to you, and the defense is much easier. I have no idea how this game will go, by the way. I didn't watch any of it. I like to go to replays in the dark without much context. Obviously, usually I don't watch the replay at such normal speed, but I think for the content and for the explanations during it, it's accurate to go slow. Okay, now we have the Vulture. Now the SCV will go first, like that. So this is very important when you are going up the ramp. There will be a Zealot and a Goon soon, because Goon is coming out from the gateway 312, something around that. So yeah, Goon will be there in 5 seconds or so. So you want to get out. So now you can see how. Actually, we can look at that. Why not? Let's look at the factory timing, because it was 11 gas, right? So how much faster was the factory for Terran? So it's 222. Okay, so 222 factory. While standard 12 gas, it's considered to get like 230, pretty okay. Of course, they are gonna do it much better because they will boost their mining every time. But this, we can consider this being like 5 seconds earlier than usual. And let's see then how this will change the outcome of going up the ramp, because that might be very important in the end. Because you would not like to fight Probe, Zealot, and Goon up the ramp with your Marines and Vulture. Okay, so here. So we are right here at 338. And look, Goon is already here. So now the Vulture could be there those 5 seconds later, and he would not be able to go up the ramp. So it's already interesting to me to see that this Terran decided to go 11 gas and to have this faster factory timing. Of course, in your games, because when you think about this being very fast factory, at the same time you have to remember that your opponents will also be, like if you are on lower rank, your opponents will also get their stuff later than usual. When I'm playing even like B rankers, I see their Goon coming out of gateway all the time at like 316 or something like that, 317. That's normal in those games, and this is like late because this Goon can be out faster. So now we are trying to save the CCTV. We didn't see anything, and now, yeah, I'm interested in how will this Terran react, because we didn't even see second pylon, right? So now we are completely in the dark. One thing worth noting is that I'll be pausing this all the time because there is so many details going on, and I kind of want to explain them so you understand that we saw this probe here when we fought the Zealot and the Goon. So we should suspect that he's not proxying us, because look at the situation from the Protoss perspective. He had one probe here, one probe was chasing a CV all the way here, and he would have to use third probe to proxy something, which is very unlikely. Like, of course he could do that technically, but like psychologically that's very tough decision to make, to send yet another probe to do that. I know it very often doesn't matter for them whether they send another probe, but yeah, on this higher level, I'm pretty sure this is how they think. Like, I think people are considering this kind of stuff even like B rank already, but those guys do it even like they consider it even more. Okay, we are adding Marine. This is something that I would not expect. Yeah, so I guess Terran doesn't know whether Protoss went range upgrade. So the problem is that, yeah, I'm not sure if he... Because the range is on the way, we can see it from the replay, but he doesn't know. Usually the range timing is 4:30, and because this map is shaped like that, he doesn't need a bunker. I mean, at least this is what he thinks, because he's assuming that he will be able to defend goons at the high ground, because he will abuse their lack of vision. But I was using this technique quite some on Dominator, and the problem is that if Protoss is smart, they won't go like with goons here. They will go through here or something like that. And then they are already on the high ground that they can kite your marine. So you have to be very, like, your map awareness has to be very good. Because, so he constantly like patrolling and looking for those goons, because he has to, if the goons come from here, he has to be there to stop them from getting up the high ground. And he has to do it as long as he don't have the mines. Now we are going second fact, so that's interesting, because he's going vultures and the second factor. This is something that I'm not usually doing, so that's new for me. I mean, it's maybe not new idea or anything like that, but it's just not my style, so I'm interested in how he's gonna do it. Of course, usually second factory goes along with the vulture speed, because you are gonna apply some kind of pressure, so yeah, this is usually how they play it. And now we go. That's interesting, because, okay, so I guess the thought process here for going out would be that the goons didn't come and didn't poke us with range, so maybe he didn't make range. But at this timing, range will be almost always done, except when maybe they go very fast Nexus into Robo before range, and then maybe. Because, so the thing is, this move out is not costing you anything. It's pretty much free. It's like a check versus Protoss, whether they made their stuff, they are not cutting corners, etc. Yeah, so in the end, if you feel like you cannot do anything anymore, just go back and it should be fine. And this is another like concept in this game. It's like as you get better and better, you will have to expect certain things from your opponent. So for example, this Protoss has probably few goons, and those Marine could be chased through the map. But the problem for the Protoss is that he knows that the mines will be there, so he won't mindlessly just walk and try to look for opportunities to fight because he doesn't know where the mines are. So obviously he's gonna to wait for Observer, and on the other hand, Terran knows that the Observer timing will be around 6:30. So he has this time to freely move on the map. Okay, so he got the goon. That's pretty good. So all you want to achieve early on is to delay. Basically, Terran can consider that he did his job in the early game when he delays Nexus to the moment when the Observer is out. That's your primary job. If Protoss is, for example, able to put down the Nexus at like 6:00 before the Observer, you pretty much are behind in some way, because it shouldn't be happening. So if something is preventable, then not preventing it is considered like you didn't do your job well. Okay, that's very good run by. We see everything. Now we consider the Observer. We pretty much know that this is the first Observer. And next Vultures. Okay, so this is actually pretty huge damage already. The mines are wasted from those Vultures, but that was completely worth it. The thing with killing probes is something that not many people realize that, or don't think about it, but it's pretty obvious that the earlier you kill the probes, the much better it is, because if you kill the probe in like first minute of the game, this probe is not gonna mine for another 20 minutes. But if you kill like probe in the 10th minute of the game, this probe is not gonna mine only for the 10th minute of the game, assuming the game ends at 20 minutes. So killing probe very early is much more powerful than killing probes later in the game. That's why at the very beginning stage of the game, it's worth to sacrifice Vultures. Even like one Vultures for one probe can be technically worth it, but at like in the mid game, it's not worth it anymore. Okay, now we start producing tanks, and we need the tanks and we need the siege. So this is another like very important concept in TvP. When Protoss is having his observers out, you need siege at this moment, because otherwise he can just come with 6-7 goons with observer and just kill you if you have no siege, because your army will never be strong enough at this point to fight him without siege. This is something that, for example, Bonnie utilizes every TvP. This is basically what he does. That's how he wins a lot of games, even on this higher level, like 2400, 2500. He just rushes observer. He does the same build all the time. He rushes observer and attack his opponent with those 6-7 goons, and very often they cannot defend it because they didn't make siege on time. Because obviously you don't want to make siege as long as you can, because it's just too expensive. Yeah, so now the Nexus is crazy late. Like 7-10 is insanely late Nexus. Now he did that because he was looking for the probe. He was anticipating probe coming here. Now if the Protoss is good, he will go on this run because he will anticipate the Vulture will go full circle. But the Vulture didn't, because Terran maybe anticipated this movement and didn't want to lose the Vulture. It's like this whole movement are mind games between two players. The better they are, the more complicated it gets, and then more safe you can play. Like if you're playing someone much worse than you, then you could probably try to run this Vulture here, because he wouldn't think that the other player would go with guns there. Okay, and we are increasing factory counts up to 5, I can see. We are not making academy. We don't need the academy. This is the thing, right? Because we had this successful Vulture run by. So, yeah, that's very good. Like information-wise, you don't need academy anymore. Okay, so we have no bunker, and that might backfire here. Let's see. So let's see what they do. By the way, this kind of fights is exactly what I'm looking for in those analyses, because you have to know that when players meet on the ladder, they might different reasons might lead them to play different things. So we never know the context, but the way they fight, they will always try to do their best. So looking at those fights is very useful. So Protoss obviously will want to target the tanks, and Terran would love to be sieged, but these Zealot bombs didn't allow him to. Let's zoom out a little bit. So Terran was lucky because this tank timing was perfect to him. Because of that, he was able to siege on the low ground, and because of that, he didn't take this much damage. I mean, he took much damage, but he traded. So that's fine. But you can see how that was very powerful attack, and Protoss, I don't know the exact reason why he did that. Maybe he would do that anyway, regardless, every time. But he took some damage early, and maybe this was his idea to get back into the game. To just do this very aggressive push and try to get some value. This is very educational here as well. So notice how this tank is sieged and giving you the space. So goons are not able to come close to the tank, but you don't siege this tank. That is very important, because if you siege this tank, he will just run at you, sacrifice goon or two and kill the tank, and then you cannot poke at him anymore. But if you don't siege, then you can poke and go back whenever. You see how he's doing, how is he doing that? That's very important maneuvers. So don't siege mindlessly. Use the back tank as your cover, and then you poke with this tank without sieging. So this tank can constantly do the damage. And now you siege when they are going back, because now to kill this tank, you would have to take sieged shot from this tank already. Okay, so he did exactly that, but now he already took the damage, so this tank will shoot at least twice, right? Yeah. Okay, that was very unlucky for the Protoss. But it was very greedy as well. So he probably didn't think of this tank and ate the mine as well. So now Terran is completely fine because of that. And now he could even consider countering, probably, or taking another base. After trading like that, yeah, it is usually possible for Terran to take base straight up on the location, because now the goon count is too low and goons are making as long as tanks, so yeah, he will not be able to instantly attack you. Yeah, so this Nexus is extremely late. Like, we have no mining at 10th minute. Like, I don't think Protoss has the hidden expansion at 6. Yeah, so like I said, instantly. So that's very important to remember, something like that. When you are being pressured, but you have already high factory count, and you trade very well, just take your base on location. You can judge then whether you have so much army that you can counter, or but usually you will have enough army at least to take the base on the location. You have two choices, which are very good. Okay, so we are getting +1. We'll get armor very quickly, and I'm interested in the next step, whether we are going port or more factories. The more factories nowadays is more trendy to go like 2 more factories right now. Some people will go port. This turret is designed to give you a space. You want to observers not to be on your rally point. This has like few reasons at least. Pause and explain that as well. So first of all, Protoss won't be able to see how your tanks are positioned exactly, so any form of attack from him will be a little bit weaker, because he will have to come with shuttles, for example, and then make decision plan in his head as the fight is going on. But if he has observer here, he will like think about how he want to do things before the fight. And the second part is that you make a space for your vultures. So for example, if the observer was here, now you put the turret here, observer has to go here, because usually observer will position himself between you and Protoss, because he wants to see your move out. But now your vultures are free to go up, because he doesn't see them with this particular observer. Of course, he can have another one, but this requires something from him to know it, or not only one observer. So we are getting to the defensive position. Yeah, and this is something like, if you are not planning to attack as Terran, and you don't know exactly where you are in the game, you don't want to give Protoss any chances, and you just lay those mines. Oh my god, that was insanely lucky Scarab. Because this Scarab, oh my god, that so many things had to happen for this Scarab to blow up like that. Like the timing of sending SCVs, and to send SCVs exactly to this mineral, and tanks standing exactly here. That was very, very unlucky. Look at the worker count. Terran was so much ahead, he was like 12 workers ahead, and now he's 10 down. Insane. Yeah. Like, Terran is not believing that Protoss doesn't have anything, and he's surprised. Now that's why he's scanning everywhere. We saw the Citadel of Adun right now, so we know Protoss doesn't have leg speed yet. I close this observer, doesn't matter that much. I mean, it does a little bit, because as a Protoss you would like to produce shuttles and rivers instead of observers, but now we can see only observers in production. That's very annoying drop. Yeah, that's very annoying drop. You hate to see those, because now you have to react, and that's why when you are positioning your factories, you should think about this, that you might have to go to your main sometimes, and not full wall or anything like that. Always leave those spaces between the buildings like he did. There is a space as well, don't put the turret here maybe. We have a lot of gas, so he's not positioning, I mean not building the gas yet, but I'm pretty sure he will do it soon. So yeah, we didn't go more, I mean we didn't go upgrades and starport, we are going for this big army. So we'll go up to 8 facts, which is standard number, I guess, nowadays. It used to be like 9 factories on 3 bases, but it kind of evolved, because Terran needs to do more defense nowadays, because of those speed shuttle styles. And this is something that I tell you in most of my TVPs, use your vultures, look at all those mines. They seem random sometimes, but they give you the vision. They what they do is they tell you where the army of Protoss is not at. So, for example, you know his army cannot be here ever if you have those mines. That's very valuable information. Okay, so we are accumulating army. I would personally already go third machine shop. I don't know why this Terran is not doing that. Probably knows better than me. I'm just interested why. We scanned. Basically, we scanned this, whether he's making carriers or not. Gate count, his rally point. These scanners were to see those things. Again, rally point. He maybe wants to see where the army is coming. Are we ever gonna make a port? Now we are getting third gas and third machine shop, yeah. So this is usually how it goes in TVP, right? One machine shop per gas. And we are attacking. So our +1 armor will kick in soon. Maybe not before the fight even, because it's actually a little bit longer. Okay, maybe he also just wants to cover this expo. Because this timing is... yeah, I don't know. What is exactly the trigger to attack here? Is what I'm looking for. Maybe this +1 upgrade. Because this is some kind of power spike, of course. But maybe he just also felt very powerful after the beginning because he killed all those probes and stuff like that. So maybe that's why he attacked. Let's look at the tanks. Yeah, we see those tanks targeting those guns. At least some of them were targeting. And this is actually pretty good for Protoss. Like, considering he was behind in army, that's pretty good for him. Yeah, so I wonder whether Terran will push forward even, or just stay defensive. He is kind of pushing forward. But we have no Goliaths now, and those mines are very dangerous. Yeah, so he's going back. Okay, so the response, like, when you give up as Terran from attacking, you should put down CC. This is how it works. Because your next attack is not gonna be stronger than this one. You have to do something that is pushing your game forward, which is more economy usually, which is the best you can do, which is putting down the CC. Of course, the CC is always good, even when you are not pushing, going back. Even when you are just attacking, it's pretty good to put down the CC because the attack itself protects the CC from being killed. Man, my nose is extremely itchy today, I don't know what's up with that. And now we are defensive. And probably we should start starport. Yeah, there it is. So that's another thing, right? When you are trying to scale at this point, because there is nothing better to do, you're probably not gonna win fight in very near future, so you won't attack. You want your base and upgrades as Terran versus Protoss. Yeah, so look at this constant Vulture movement. Like, throughout the whole game, this Terran is using his Vultures, being annoying, killing some units with mines, killing this probe, so he is not allowing Protoss to expand to the top side of the map, which is very important. The more you can keep Protoss out of this expo, the more you will be able to push directly to his side of the map. Okay, so we are kind of attacking again. So I guess the idea there is to just cut Protoss off this expansion again. Yeah, but Protoss is getting pretty good trades there. He traded a lot of Zealots for those tanks, but in the end, Terran army is just too big. The trade wasn't bad for Protoss, but he lost the fight anyway, which is pretty normal scenario actually. Like, this is usually how it goes for Protoss. Like, Protoss has to throw multiple armies at you, but they have more economy, so they want to decrease the tank count, ideally with Zealots, and then just push again in some time. Okay, so Terran is pushing forward, and yeah, he's getting this position, and he will be able to siege this base. That's very annoying for Protoss. There should be a Dark Templar being made from this gateway already. He scans the rally point to see where the army is coming, because Protoss could either defend or go counter, and Terran wants to know that. Yeah, this is extremely good position for Terran. This is pretty much game over. So there is this concept where you can, when you are attacking as a Terran and you are already sieged, it's just the same as you were defending. This doesn't make any difference anymore. So it doesn't matter when your army is here or here. If you are already sieged, it will trade just as good. So the whole problem for Terran is always getting to the position, but when you are already at the position, you rarely lose the fight. The Terran army is insanely strong when it can just stand in place. It doesn't have to move. The attacking part is like moving the army is hard part. Okay, Protoss will do some damage here, but it doesn't really matter, because even if you lost this base, we still have this one, and Protoss will only have this one, so that's perfectly fine for Terran. Like Terran is already scaled with numbers, and one base Terran versus one base Protoss at this stage of the game is very easy for Terran usually. Like the same amount of bases basically, Terran is always winning. Maybe one base versus one base in early game is not that obvious that it is better for Terran, but later on it's much better. Okay. This will be the end when Protoss sees the CC. Also, yeah, he got again harassed with vultures to death. So look at the new minion, at this whole vision. And throughout the game, the vulture usage was just superior. Okay, that's it. Let me know what you think of this format and me explaining, pausing during this to explain everything. Do you like something like that, or do you think I should just play the replay as is and keep talking during the game as I was commentating more than analyzing? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, because this is something new I'm doing. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.